with a hot, hard flame. One, it's very hard to get a foot in the door with a first job. Two, it's extremely poor pay, particularly at the lower levels. Yes, I've been very lucky and very blessed, and you can say, well, easy for big-time former anchorman to say, but I've been there. It's at least as true today as it's ever been, that if you don't burn to do it, I would say almost be addicted to doing it, then you probably ought to look for something else to get into. So I want to say to you today, journalism students, ask yourself, do you burn with a hot, hard flame to do it?
How'd you feel about the Dan Rather interview?
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I mean, I'm not a journalism major, and a lot of what he said had to deal with journalism, but still, I think he had a lot of advice just for anyone going into the media field in general. I mean,
you've got to learn to write, you've got to dedicate yourself to a lifetime of improving yourself as a writer. You've got to read, and you've got to read seriously.
On Wednesday, April 13th, we were graced with the presence of anchorman Dan Rather. So when I was given a chance to cover him for Eye on Fordham, I was extremely honored to meet such a news icon. I've watched Dan Rather since I was a kid, sitting on my father's lap. So to have him in person was an exhilarating experience. And my first question from behind the camera was, what do you think about news stations who are supposed to cover hard news, covering stories about Snooki from Jersey Shore and the royal wedding?
Well, so much of what's on television today that's called, quote, news is not really news. They're entertainment programs. Entertainment values have come to almost completely overwhelm, like some tsunami, news values. And that's the reason you see so much on television that's passing for news. That's really just 3 or 4 people in one room shouting at one another rather than covering something. But the other thing is that, we are an entertainment-intensive society, but the quality of entertainment, by and large, on the major outlets of television, the quality has gone significantly down, and that's to be regretted whether you're a journalist or not.
I then spoke to Sarah Kugel, the student body president, to see how she felt about Mr. Rather visiting our campus.
It was very surreal at first. And we were talking about earlier, I mean, he's a voice that you heard for so many years and you grew up with, and then all of a sudden, he's right in front of you. I thought his advice was right on. I wish I had heard the advice that he gave me sooner.
Much of what you're being taught here, much, not all, but much of what you're being taught here of what I would call mechanical skills, how to run a camera, how to put a piece together, how to read in front of the camera, to do anchor work or stand-up work. It's good, I'm not knocking it. These are things that you can learn on the outside. These are skills that can be honed on the outside.
When Professor Sanders first told us that he was coming, I couldn't even believe that. I just feel like I felt like a celebrity was coming. Like everyone else would be excited about like a singer and actress, but with him coming, it was surreal. Like you said before, he's so influential. Everyone knows who he is. I was telling my roommates who are not communication majors, and even they know about him, and they were really excited for me. And you can just tell how well known he is with us young journalists, because the whole classroom was filled, people were standing, and I just felt like they were hanging on to what he was saying.
I thought it was great. You hear about these celebrities coming to Fordham, like Karl Rove. There's all this talk going on about that, about all these people are going, all these people aren't going. It's going to cost Fordham a lot of money, and people are up in arms about that. But then to get an invite to something like this, where it's just Dan Rather talking to like 50 people in a classroom, I was really happy to get that. I was surprised, and then he just walks into the room, and you're not used to seeing somebody that you idolize that much just walk into a room. No doves or anything, no sparks. He just walks in and starts talking, and he seems so down to earth. It was just really surprising. I was really taken aback by it, but I enjoyed it a lot. I feel like I took a lot away from it.
I love that Dan Rather coming to campus was absolutely amazing. I've practically grown up with him in my home. Watching him. My family is a big supporter of CBS. They both my parents have worked for CBS. So Dan Rather comes and he's in my home, and all of a sudden now he's at my school. So it was an absolutely wonderful experience, and it was also really great to hear what he had to say, because he really echoed all the sentiments and everything that our teachers have already taught us here. So to really hear it from from him, from a living legend, you know, just really makes my education feel like it's so much worth it.
To be a journalist worthy of the name, you have to be committed and concerned. To be a journalist worthy of the name, and also, I think, to make it in the intensely competitive environment, particularly in American journalism today, you have to burn with a hot, hard flame to want to do it.
This is Lawrence Seeley with the Eye on Fordham.